Good morning, Courtney. Kyle Boldry is now charged with killing Trevor Hubbard and Keith Atkinson. Troopers say Boldry stabbed Hubbard to death. They say that he then crossed the road and attacked Keith Atkinson, Deborah Wells, and Jeffrey Bauer. Atkinson died from the beating. Troopers believe Boldry and Hubbard were experimenting with synthetic drugs. Benzie County Sheriff Ted Shendell says when someone is on synthetic drugs, it's not only dangerous for them, but anyone around them.
We're very concerned about it simply because it gives unhuman-like strength to these individuals. It just alters their brain chemistry, and it just turns them into unrational people that will do just about anything.
Boldry will be back in court later this month. Live in the newsroom, I'm Adora Namigadde from Michigan This Morning.
And Adora, Addiction Treatment Services in Traverse City says synthetic drugs are extremely dangerous because of what people will do while on them. They say people become agitated and often act completely different. People on synthetic drugs often feel compelled to hurt themselves or other people. They say treatment for using synthetic drugs can also be challenging. Addiction Treatment Services says it's important to make the call for help if you think someone you know is using synthetic drugs. And the fight against opioid misuse or abuse is getting help from the Centers for Disease Control. Michigan's Department of Health and Human Services is getting $2.25 million to help prevent overdoses from prescription opioids. The grant from the CDC will cover 3 years. State health officials say there was a four-fold increase from 1999 to 2014 in unintentional deadly drug poisonings. Michigan will use the funding to improve data collection and analysis, develop a strategy to combat the problem, as well as work with communities to develop more comprehensive opioid overdose prevention programs.
We are following developing news this morning. Emergency crews in Ottawa County are searching for 2 missing teens swept away by waves in Lake Michigan. Ottawa County Central Dispatch tells us 4 teenage boys were swimming in Lake Michigan at the Holland State Park around 7:30 last night. That's when a 14 and a 17-year-old were swept away by strong currents and high waves. The other 2 teens managed to get safely out of the water. Boats and helicopters were being used to search for the 2 teens, but around 11 last night, search efforts were called off due to dangerous conditions and darkness. To stay with Northern Michigan News Leader as we work to bring you the latest details on this developing story.
New on Michigan This Morning, Traverse City Area Public Schools is looking for full-time bus drivers. TCAPS is offering combination full-time jobs for drivers. It can be hard to attract part-time school bus drivers because the split shift makes it hard for them to find supplemental work. Now, TCAPS is offering drivers other positions that need to be filled, like lawn care, maintenance, and custodial work. They have 7 more drivers this year for a total of 99 altogether. About a third of the drivers are taking advantage of this new opportunity.
We're 7 better drivers this year than we were before, so we're up 7. We're at 99 this year instead of 92, so it seems to be working. Whatever it takes to bring in more drivers, since they're at a very high demand for school bus drivers, so whatever it takes to bring in qualified and safe drivers is what we're going to try to move on to.
Filling the middle gap is something TCAPS will continue offering to prospective bus drivers down the road.
A treatment to remove parasites has those who love to fish in the Manistee River upset with how it's affecting fish. Every 3 years, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service releases a lampricide into the Manistee River to get rid of sea lamprey. But this time, anglers have been finding lots of dead fish near the Tippy Dam, and they're worried about the upcoming salmon season. Fishermen say they've had fewer bites the last couple of days on this stretch of the river. The treatment is not meant to kill fish, but it can. Charter fishing companies are booking trips through September, and the dead fish have them worried about business. Anglers hope this doesn't happen again and would like to be more involved in the decision about when the sea lamprey treatment takes place. This morning, state officials say they haven't found any Asian carp DNA in Michigan rivers. The DNR and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service say there's no evidence of big head or silver carp. Both have been searching the Great Lakes connecting rivers this year. Right now, the DNR says it's waiting for results from a final round of samples. One sample from the Kalamazoo River tested positive back in 2014, but officials say that came from a boat or angler.
It's 5:35 now, and new on Michigan this morning, the Father Fred Foundation in Traverse City is working with the Groundwork Center to promote healthier eating. Groundwork is underwriting the project. It helped Father Fred start a garden that supplies fresh produce to the pantry. Now they're sharpening focus on the project's educational component. Signs throughout the pantry give diet advice, and She's for Kids give healthy eating facts. They're also giving out recipes so people can learn to use produce that they may not be familiar with. The project aims to reduce poverty by improving their quality of diet. A federal grant is on its way to help homeless veterans right here in northern Michigan. The Department of Veterans Affairs is granting $300 million to the Department of Housing and Urban Development Veteran Affairs Supportive Housing Program. The program provides housing to veterans and their families who are homeless. Each veteran also gets a caseworker. They help the vets make a stability plan to make sure that they can continue to come up with the money to keep their home once the program ends. The program gives back to people who have already given so much. So far, it's helped reduce veteran homelessness by more than 40%, and their eventual goal is to get rid of it altogether.
5:36 now on Michigan this morning. 1,500 bicyclists have rolled into northern Michigan, making their way all the way up to Mackinac City. The 46th annual Dick Allen Lansing to Mackinac Bike Tour started yesterday morning in Lansing. 4 different routes are taking bikers throughout northern Michigan. Some will eventually have the chance to bike across the Mackinac Bridge. Bikers come from more than 30 states and Canada to participate in the Dalmac Bike Tour. More than 300 people set up camp and got dinner at Shepherd High School just last night. For Daniel Updike, who is participating for his 20th year, the tour is all about meeting fellow bikers and having fun.
Well, it's like a vacation because you get to, all you do is ride your bike. And you put up a tent, you know, and stay in a school. It's fun.
Bikers are already back at it this morning. The Dalmac Bike Tour continues for the next 4 days.
The 25th annual Fish TC Salmon Classic kicks off tomorrow in Traverse City. One of the preview events was scheduled to begin last night with a mini classic big box tournament, but was canceled due to a small craft advisory on the water. The tournament takes place on both East and West Grand Traverse Bays and will kick off on Friday with the women's tournament. The tournament is open to anyone, and for information on how to enter, just head to our website, 9and10news.com. Northern Michigan campgrounds are already looking forward to a very busy Labor Day weekend. Some campgrounds have been booked for weeks now for this weekend in particular. Many campgrounds have had to turn down campers looking for sites this weekend. It's one last getaway for many families before the start of the school year. But the campgrounds say it's all weather dependent. If the weather is nice for Labor Day, they'll see the sites fill up really quickly. With a warm weekend ahead, it is sure to be a busy weekend. Good for everybody camping this weekend. Yep. 5:38 Michigan this morning. There's still much more to come this half hour. You may need to grab a jacket this morning, though, on your way out the door. Temperatures will be a little cooler for the first day of September. Find out if they'll be warm back up for this Labor Day weekend coming up at 5:41.
At 5:47, Jenny and Stephanie are live in Interlochen, showing us around a unique business that specializes in relaxing in style. And don't miss today's top business news just ahead in Money Watch at 5:54.